Hello, it's Monroe here, and I'm coming to you live from the barn because I have relatives in my house, and I need a quiet place to narrate. So earlier this year, I made a rocket, and, well, the rocket part worked, and the coming back down part worked, well, I guess you could say exceptionally well, because it crashed headfirst into the ground and broke into pieces. Hey, don't chew on that! Don't chew on that! You monster! Ugh! Ugh! Edda's come over to bother me, so I guess you get to meet her now. This is Edda, who's a drama queen, and also a goat. Where was I? Oh yeah. So, I went and built another one. And of course, if something didn't work the first time, I should obviously make it significantly harder for myself the second time. So, I made a booster staged rocket. So what is a booster staged rocket? A booster staged rocket is a rocket that uses boosters as stages. Yep. Many rockets use this. Everything from Delta to the Space Shuttle. I'm sure you've seen them. They're huge. Yeah. One interesting thing to note about my booster staged rocket is that it's actually completely passively staged. So the moment the boosters stop producing thrust, they just fall off. Right like that. The fact that it's completely passively staged means that it's remarkably less complex to try to figure out how to get it to actually work. Despite it being my first time trying to 3D print anything, I used quite a few 3D printed parts on my rocket. For starters, I designed and printed my very own motor mounts. If you watched my last video, you know that the motor mounts were one of the places where my rocket failed. So this time I designed and 3D printed my very own, and oh my gosh. The motor mounts not only screw shut to hold the motor in place, but they also work, which is actually kind of nice. The other thing I 3D printed was the booster mounts. They're essentially just a post and a socket, and you insert the booster into the socket and it stays there. And when you stop accelerating, they fall right off because they're not actually attached. All of the 3D printed parts took me a whole week to design, print, redesign, reprint. It took a lot of versions to find something that worked. This was not a thing that I was good at right on the first try. Now, if you look at my rocket, you'll notice that it's got fins on the main stage, but not on the other stages. And you might wonder, Monroe, if it doesn't have fins, what kind of stabilization does it use? I did an absolutely awful job explaining stabilization, specifically fin stabilization, in my last video, so I would like to hand this off to Monroe from the future, so that Monroe from the future can do a better job explaining what the heck I was trying to talk about. Off to you, Monroe from the future. Thank you, Monroe from the past. It's Monroe from the future here, to hopefully do a better job explaining fin stabilization. Yes, I am kneeling so my head doesn't get cut out of the shot. So say you've got a rocket. As it flies through the sky, it might start to tip from side to side. Now, you've got your center of mass, which is the center of balance on the rocket, and as air hits it, if there's more surface for the air to hit above, then of course the rocket flips. Now, if there's more surface down here at the bottom, then that rocket will automatically self-stabilize. Now, if I had fins to the bottom of the rocket, I'm increasing that surface area. So even if the center of mass is down low, there's still a lot of area down here for air to press against. Yes, I know I cut my head out of the shot anyway. Thank you for noticing. This is the principle that my booster staged rocket runs on. The idea is that those boosters are all beneath the center of mass, and act like fins on their own. And when they detach, there's fins on the main stage to keep that stabilized. Now back to you, Past Monroe. I wanted my rocket design to be at least partially modular, so I tried to keep all of the recovery systems contained into the boosters and the main stage, so that whatever I put on top could be easily modified. There's parachutes in both of the boosters and in the main stage, and whatever I put on top of the main stage is completely swappable. However, this is why you see the main stage split at the middle instead of deploying from the top. And by the way, this is Apollo. And this one's Artemis. Because I had 3 igniters instead of 1 igniter, I needed to figure out a way to increase the maximum amp load I could send through the igniters, so that I didn't have just 1 ignite but not the other 2, because that would essentially render my whole design useless. So my clever brain decided to make a neat little contraption where I took a whole bunch of D batteries and put them in parallel, because parallel means more amps, right? Well, unfortunately voltage matching exists, which I completely forgot about, so the end design ended up looking not unlike a club. It's 6 D batteries in series to match the 9-volt system that the normal igniter runs on. And I just wire this in series with all the other stuff, and it can deliver enough amps to ignite 3 at once. By the way, this is Eli. Now I don't only have to worry about the electrical system, I need to worry about the launch pad too. Usually the rockets that use this launch pad have a piece of tube or a straw that slides down over the very long rod that sticks out of the top of the launch pad. Now, this doesn't work for my rocket because the whole thing essentially rests on the boosters, so I need it to somehow rest on the boosters. My initial idea was to use clothes hangers. I know you guys want to see the rocket go now, but unfortunately, there's some math that we gotta do. I need to know if my boosters have a high enough thrust to weight ratio that they can actually stay attached to the main stage. Essentially, this has to go faster than this. And we could do some handy math to figure that out. The first thing we do is we measure the booster. The booster weighs about 32 grams. Next, we weigh the main stage. The main stage weighs about 82 grams. Next, we take the thrust in newtons that their respective motors produce. A B4 engine produces about 4 newtons of thrust. And a D12 engine produces about 8. Now what we can do is we can say, well, if this was 8, then this would be 64. And 64 is less than 82. Therefore, 4 newtons will accelerate 32 grams faster than 8 newtons will accelerate 82 grams. That's some handy math right there. And now, you get to see my rocket go zoom. See you there. Hi, it's Monroe here, and we're here today at my neighbor's, who generously has allowed me to use her house, specifically her field, to shoot off a rocket. Today we're shooting off just the center stage of my new rocket so that we can test a couple of things. First off, as you all probably know, I'm really bad at recovery systems, so one of the things that we're testing is the recovery system. Another thing we're testing is to see whether or not the rocket actually flies, and if everything goes well, I might be able to say that, wow, I can actually put a rocket with a D-powered motor and bring it back down in one piece. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, look at that, it deployed. That parachute is not unfolding.
No, you noticed that, eh?
I want to get it.
That is really, really good news. What?
Worked, except for this. What worked too? This.
Why did it not unfold? It didn't even try to unfold. Gotta work on that. Louise, do you know why my recovery system sucks so bad?
Because you suck so bad.
Hello.
Hello.
It is after the test now. Here's a little rundown. It went up, had a little bit of wobble on the way up, which wasn't good.
Put the phone down.
A little bit of wobble on the way up. And didn't deploy the parachute all the way, but it still came down in one piece, more or less. So, hey, I've done it now. I've launched a D-powered rocket. And it came back in one piece. That is excellent. Of course, now I need to do some tests on parachute
Boring.
deployment.
I'm gonna leave now.
Okay, I need to do some tests on parachute deployment, which I will probably do tomorrow because the weather's supposed to be bad. So my plan up here is to just take this little parachute and test different methods of folding and stowing it by just dropping them from here all the way down to the ground, which is like 2 stories. It's pretty tall. And then whichever one deploys the fastest is the one I'll use. Unfortunately, the tests didn't actually yield any hopeful results. I couldn't get the parachute to unfold in just 2 stories. I would have to go higher for better results. But the closest I got to making it unfold by the time it reached the bottom was by folding it inside out, funnily enough. But I don't think that this is practical, so I'm just gonna go with the original fold pattern, and that's the one that Estes recommends, so I don't know why it doesn't work for me. I'm here at Kathleen's farm. It's my neighbor today to shoot off our booster staged rocket attempt. And don't worry, I have the handy dandy box. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jesus Christ.
I don't know where it went.
It's up there.
Oh, holy moly.
I don't see it either.
I see it. It's all right, Baz.
Oh, there it is.
Easy. It didn't deploy.
It's fine. It's going slow enough that I'm not worried.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. It's
Coming down in the field.
if I were you.
It wasn't gentle, but it was gentle enough that it's probably fine. Oh, geez. This one didn't even ignite. That one didn't even go. I suspected as much. I need the boosters to ignite first. And it went much better than I expected, as in separation worked. It came off.
Yeah, it did. And I gather that nothing died.
Oh, there it is. Still in one piece. That's good news. All right, so launch breakdown. it did more or less what I needed it to do, as in I proved that my separation works. I really need those boosters to ignite first, because one of them didn't even ignite, and the other one, I don't know. I actually don't know. If the other one had ignited, it could have been a success, but it didn't. And the only way I can really control that better is if I ignite it first, which means that I would need to do a hold down, which means that the whole thing probably needs re-engineering, or at least, actually, I have some ideas. I think that if we do a version 2, then I could totally make this work. It just might need some avionics, which is, also in the works. Hey, it worked! I mean, sort of. It mostly worked. The main stage did separate. It did continue on its own. It did deploy its parachute. The parachute didn't open, but that was not related to the way I folded it. It was related to the fact that the whole thing fused together because it's plastic. And if you review the footage in slow motion, you can see that the booster the one that ignited wanted to stay on the rocket. The only reason it didn't is because the other one didn't ignite. And I personally don't know why it didn't ignite, but it didn't. And that led to the whole booster stage part not really working, but stage separation, which I was really worried about, worked excellently, and I'm so happy. Well, I would say my rocket actually works this time, which is a good improvement, even if the booster staged element isn't perfect. But any good rocket needs a name, and I don't have one. So I say, post your names in the comments, which I intend to start responding to soon. Sorry about not doing that sooner. And yeah, booster staged rockets. I'll figure it out. You two are crazy. You need to chill. Take a chill pill, Artemis. Ugh! Those are my... Oh, that's my jewels. You're obnoxious. Hello. It's about yay long and thick. I'm gonna regret posting that on YouTube.